Hey guys, welcome to my next video. Hopefully you saw the basics video where I sort of cover the basics of American football. If not, there's a link to it here which I'll put on for you. So go check that out if you want to know sort of some of the rules of American football. But for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the league, so the NFL. We're going to look at how that's structured and then how the season is structured. First of all, we'll start with the with how the league itself is structured. So we have the NFL is split down the middle into two conferences. So we've got the AFC and the NFC. Now they stand for American Football Conference and National Football Conference. So the AFC and the NFC each have 4 divisions, split north, south, east and west. Each division has 4 teams in it, making up the 32 in the NFL. So as you see here, we'll say the AFC West here. So we've got the Broncos, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Oakland Raiders and the San Diego Chargers. They're all in the AFC West. And then those divisions never change. Those 4 teams are in that division and they will stay in that division forever, and the same with all of the others. Now, the way the scheduling works is it's slightly complicated. So there are 3 phases to the American football to the NFL season. There's the pre-season, then there's the regular season, then the post-season or the playoffs. Then there's the off-season, and then we'll talk about what happens in the off-season a bit later in another video. So the way that it works here is, instead of in most leagues where you might see, particularly in England, where you'll see every team plays every team maybe twice a year, once away and once at home. Now it's slightly different in this. There are 32 teams, but in the regular season there are only 17 weeks. Now each team plays 16 games and then they get a week off or a bye week. So the way it works is we'll use the AFC North as an example for this video. So the AFC North, so let's take the Cincinnati Bengals. That's this team here. They're the Cincinnati Bengals. So we'll take them as an example. So we'll make up a schedule for them according to the rules of how they do it. So the Cincinnati Bengals will play these 3 teams twice every year. They're known as divisional rivals because they're in the same division. And we'll discuss why they're important in a little bit. So they play, this team wants home and wants away, this team wants home and wants away, this team wants home and wants away. Every year. Then, all 4 of these teams in the AFC North, will play all 4 teams in, let's say, the AFC West in our little made-up season. So, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns and the Steelers each will play Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders and Chargers. They will play them once in the season. So the divisional games make up 6 games in the season. Now we've got these teams here, so that's another 4 games. So now we've got 10 games that they are playing in the year. Another 4 games come from the AFC North, similar to playing every team from a division in their conference, will play all the teams in a division from the other conference. So let's take the NFC North because I like the Green Bay Packers. So all 4 of these teams will play, all 4 of these teams, and all 4 of these teams as well. They will play 2 of these teams away and 2 of them will be home, and then 2 of these teams away and 2 of them at home. It alternates which one. And then they play every division on a rotation every year. So this year they might play the AFC West, then next year they'll play the AFC East, then they'll play the South, then the West, and it rotates like that. And they do the same with the other conference. So they'll play the North, then they might play the West, then the East, then the South, and then they'll play the North again, then the West, and East and South, and it goes like a cycle. And all these teams get cycled round. So every year they know at least their first 14 opponents. They know exactly who they're going to be playing every single year. Now that's 14 games, so we need 2 more. Now this is where it's a little bit more complicated, this one. So what we do for the next 2 games is we take this previous season into account. So the conferences that the Bengals aren't playing in this season, only from their conference, are the AFC East and the NFC South. So they haven't got any of these teams in their schedule yet. Now, so let's say the Bengals come second in their division the year before, and we'll discuss that in a second. So they're going to come second in their division. Now, whoever came second in the AFC East and whoever came second in the AFC South will then play the Bengals in our new season. Sorry about that, just wake it up again. So whoever gets placed in the same part of their division with the other teams, that's who they will play, and they make up the 16 games. And then the people who write the schedule will sort that out according to that template. And then it's the same again up here. So let's say, the Saints have won their division the previous year and they're playing the NFC West. So the NFC South are playing the NFC West. The Saints won their division, and because they're not playing either of these, they'll play whoever won either of those divisions. And then whoever came in fourth will play the fourth place from these two, and then third will play third place, and so on. And that makes up all 16 games. And then obviously, because they're 17 weeks, they get a week off. So we've got the pre-season, which is made up of 4 games, and those 4 pre-season games don't count towards anything at all. None of that matters. The pre-season, that's just that's time for the players who wouldn't normally get to play. It's a time for them to show the world what they can do. Really, you know, I suppose they're a bit like the B team, and they don't put their starters on. So the starters are obviously the guys who start in their respective positions, start the game. The others are all backups, obviously. You know, self-explanatory, really. So the NFL and American football isn't the way that the divisions are worked out isn't a points-based system as it usually is with sport. It goes on their record. So let's say, for example, let's take the Bengals again. So they play the AFC West. Their opening game of the season, week 1, is going to be against the San Diego Chargers. So in week 1, they're against the San Diego Chargers. Let's say they're at home, and they beat the San Diego Chargers. So now they're 1-0, and that means 1 win, 0 losses. So 1-0 because they won that game. The next week, they're going to play, who do we say? We said the North. So the Bengals are going to play the Minnesota Vikings, who are over here, and they lose that game. The Vikings win that. So now the Bengals are 1-1 because they've won 1 and they've lost 1. And then they're going to play, I don't know, so they came second. So let's say the Jets came second, the New York Jets came second in their division. So they're going to play that game, and then they're going to win that game, so they're now 2-1. And so on and so forth until the end when they've played 16 games, and they could be 16-0 or 15-1 or, I don't know, 10-6. You know, as long as it adds up to 16, obviously. So whoever's got the best record, i.e. the most wins, will win their division. So let's say the Bengals finish their season with a pretty respectable 12-4. So they won 12 games and they lost 4 games. The Ravens in our little fiction season finished 11-5. So they're going to be second in the division because they won fewer games than the Bengals. Now we're going to make this realistic. So the Steelers are going to come first. Now I only say realistic because it's between these 3 in this division. Not that I ain't got any opinions on that. So the Steelers are going to finish in 3rd place with 10-6. So they scored fewer than the Ravens, and they scored fewer. They won fewer than the Ravens, and they won fewer than the Bengals. And then the Browns can finish dead last on 2-14 because that sounds about right. And I'm sure Browns fans would agree with me. But we're not going to get political, and we're just going to go through it. So they finished dead last on 2-14. So we've got 12-4, 11-5, 10-6, 2-14. So whoever wins their division gets through to the playoffs. Hooray, happy days. Now each team gets seeded. Now what seeded means is whoever has the highest, the best record in their conference gets the #1 seed, and that's what everyone wants to aim for. So, for example, this year we've just finished the 2015 season. The Denver Broncos had the best record in the AFC, so they got first seed, and the best record in the NFC went to the Carolina Panthers here in the NFC South. So they get first seed as well, and then whoever had the second best record gets second seed, and so on down to sixth seed. There's only 12 teams who get through to the playoffs. So in our fiction season, but still fairly realistic. So we'll say the Broncos get first seed, Patriots get second seed, and then we'll say the Bengals get third seed, and the AFC South, we'll say the Colts get fourth seed. So they have the fourth best record. Well, I should backtrack a little bit. Out of all of the division winners, it's the best seed. Down to 1 to 4, and then 5 and 6 goes to the teams who finished second in their division, but had the best record. So out of all of the teams who didn't win their division, the top 2 teams go through as wild cards, and the same in the NFC. So all of the division winners go straight through, and they automatically get a playoff game, which they will have at home. So all of the teams who won their division get home playoff games. That's sort of the reward for winning your division. And then the 2 teams with the best record who didn't win their division, they also go through, but they play the away games. So we'll have a look at how the playoffs are structured. Ignore the dates, and also I'll give a little shout out because I got this image off Google, so I'll give a shout out to this guy, John Agent email.com. I don't know who he is or anything. I've just, seen as I use his image, thought it'd be nice to give him a mention. So this is the structure of the playoffs. Now, so this is what's known as wildcard weekend. So what we discussed earlier on. Now, the top 2 seeds in either conference. So here we've got the AFC and the NFC on this side. So the 2 best seeds, so #1 seed and #2 seed in each conference, get a week off. They go straight through to the next round of playoffs, into the divisional playoffs. So we've got the wild card weekend, then the divisional playoffs, then the next stage is the conference championship. Then the next one is the big one, which we're all aiming for, Super Bowl. Okay? So we've got the wild card round, which is these 2 on either side here, and they are played by the 3rd and 4th seed teams, and the 5th and 6th seed. So the 5th and 6th seed always go to the teams who didn't win their division and had the better records. So they play 3rd and 4th seed. Now the way they do it is they say the 3rd seed will play 6th seed, and 4th seed will play the 5th seed. So it's all the seeding's about advantage. So then whoever wins these 2 games here on wildcard weekend go through to the divisional playoffs, and they will meet the top 2 seeded teams who got the week off and an extra week to sort of recover and game plan. So they go through to the divisional playoffs. So you've got the NFC divisional playoffs here and the AFC divisional playoffs here. Now they will fight for a chance to play in the conference championship games. We've got the NFC conference championship and the AFC conference championship here. Now whoever wins those games there will be crowned champion of their respective conference. So either the AFC or the NFC, they will be crowned champion, and then they will earn the right to represent the conference in the Super Bowl, which is the big finale, the big final, the big show, the greatest show on earth, as they say. So the Super Bowl is always played by 1 team from the AFC and 1 team from the NFC. It cannot be played by 2 teams from the NFC or 2 teams from the AFC. Now that's to do with history, which again I'll discuss in a different video because it's quite complicated. But it is quite interesting to sort of learn about. So check that video out. I'll put a link in the description to that one. So yeah, then they play the Super Bowl, and whoever wins the Super Bowl is obviously champion of the world. They're champion of the NFL, and they win the Super Bowl, and then that is the end of the season. Sorry. So the regular season starts in September, then the Super Bowl finishes in February. So in 2015 it was, what was it? February 1st. And then after that is the off season until August, really. So yeah, I hope that makes a little bit more sense for you. Again, any questions, just feel free to pop a question in the comments, or comment on the video. Usual stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, and we'll see you for the next video.